All right. We are live. We're live both on Instagram and on YouTube. So welcome back, you guys. Fix my light here for a second. Welcome back to our daily live feed. We are back. Welcome, guys. Welcome. If you are logging on Instagram and you'd like to come over to our YouTube channel, we will be screen sharing over on YouTube. Welcome back. Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. What's up, Raven? Welcome, you guys. And as always, as you're getting logged on, if you would like to come work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits, and posing, all the fun stuff when it comes to competing. Oh, you are? Where are you at, Shantae? You're all over the place. You were just in New York. Finally catching on what time zone I'm in. Oh, there you go, Raven. That's right. You're not over here anymore. What part of Virginia are you in? So, guys, as you're getting logged on and while we're waiting, Cuties Conquering the Stage tickets are live. Okay, Williamsburg is about 2.5 hours from me or so. I don't know exactly from my new house how far you are from me, but about 2.5 hours. So, but yes, Cuties Conquering the Stage tickets are live. They are selling fast. Over half of our early bird tickets have been sold already, and we've just been open since 1 p.m. today. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, don't wait because they're going to go quick. This happens every year. And ultimately what happens, we've always got a few girls like, oh, shoot, I forgot or whatever. And then they're out of luck. So yes, you are south. You are south with me. Yep. Yes, can't wait. Devin will be there. Yes, you need to get your tickets. They're open now. So the link is in my bio now. If you were on the VIP early access list, you got the email early, but it is out on social media land now, so you can purchase. If you've already purchased your ticket, look at your welcome email because we also have a Facebook group open, and several of the girls are in there now. So just go over to the Facebook group and actually add yourself. Then you guys can all talk together. This is how a lot of girls actually first meet prior to actually going to the event. You can find roommates, that kind of thing, help you with cost and all that kind of stuff. So then that way you are, good to go with that too, because you won't be spending a whole lot of time in your room. It's a very, very, very full weekend. So you'll be in your room to sleep, and that's about it. So get some roommate action going on there so you can save a little bit of cash that way. All right, so now that we've been on for a few minutes, we are going to talk about some of the things that I noticed from North Americans. Now, the headline of today's topic is basically to not bring to the stage what the judges are looking for, but to bring their criteria. So what does that mean? What does that mean exactly? All right, I'm going to show you examples, but I'm going to explain this a little bit first. I'm going to pull up some pictures from NBC News Online and kind of show you what I'm talking about with all this, okay? So what happens a lot of times with competitors, and I kind of think this is how some divisions start evolving, is competitors will go get feedback, right? They'll get feedback from a certain show or something like that. And in that particular show, they needed to be such and such, right? So the judges tell them, you needed to be a little bit more conditioned at this particular show. That was just that show, right? So then that competitor goes and they become more conditioned. Then they go to the next show, and at this point they're too conditioned, that kind of thing. So quickly their criteria starts getting raised, and it's just based on what they're actually seeing at one show versus another. At the end of the day, you always need to go back to the actual criteria that is outlined on NBC News Online in the rules, okay? The best example of this was the girl that won the overall for female bodybuilding at North Americans. She looked phenomenal. I was shocked when I saw her pictures come up because to me, that is what female bodybuilding should look like. Now, here's the thing. She wasn't the most conditioned girl on stage. She wasn't the biggest, all that kind of stuff. She wasn't anything overboard on any direction. She was right down the middle and she fit the criteria, the actual criteria for female bodybuilding perfectly, in my opinion. I felt like she was the best choice, right? Took me forever to get her. There you go. So I'm going to share her pictures. I'm going to share some photos of the girls that won the women's physique and also figure and all that stuff too. We're going to go through these pictures one by one. I want you guys to see this, okay? So if you are on Instagram, if you want to go over to YouTube, this is where I'm going to be sharing the pictures for you. And they're all coming right from NPC News Online. So let me pull up our female bodybuilding winner first. I think this is her right here. Yes. Okay. So let me pull her up first. So this is the girl that won female bodybuilding overall at North Americans, right? Can't wait to see the pictures. Yes. So she, I believe she's only 24 years old. I was not familiar with her at all until I saw her pictures popping up as the overall winner. Let me pull up a good front shot of her. And I think I've got one already open. Let me do that real quick. She is stunning. She's absolutely stunning. 100%. Here she is. There we go. So to me, like the first thing I thought of when I saw this particular picture pop up and when I saw her photos pop up on Instagram and things like that was that she looks like Linda Murray-esque. For those of you that aren't familiar with Linda Murray, I mean, she won the Olympia, 8 times, that kind of thing. She sat near me and her back was insane. I did see her walking around the venue. I do remember seeing her actually walk around the venue at North Americans, and girls were complimenting her on how amazing she looked and everything like that too. And to me, I love this look. This looks like a girl who is an athlete. Her shape, yeah, right? She looks like an athlete to me. She's not overboard on anything. Her shape is incredible. She's got amazing muscle. Like, I feel like this is a girl that could be like a CrossFit athlete or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I see when I look at her photos. Very beautiful girl, like very pretty smile, all of that kind of thing. And again, she's not the most conditioned girl on stage. Muscle wise, I do feel like she was one of the bigger girls. I think she was the heavyweight winner, if I'm not mistaken. But again, just a really great, solid overall look for female bodybuilding. I love this. I would love to see more women come in looking like this. I think a look like this could actually help female bodybuilding become more popular, right? So this is what I mean by following the criteria versus following the judging, right? Because what happens is people say, oh, well, the judges are rewarding people harder. Oh, well, the judges are doing this. The judges are doing that. No, what happens is the judges have to judge what shows up on stage that day. Somebody may show up that doesn't fit the criteria at all, but they still have to put that person into a position. They still have to place that person, right? So they just may be the person that came closest to the criteria that day, but that's not the actual criteria. Is this making sense? Does this make sense, the distinction that I'm trying to make here as far as what is the criteria versus what is being rewarded? It looks less intimidating than what most girls think is super duper bulky. Love this look. Right. She looks great. Again, she looks athletic to me. And again, very Linda Murray-esque to me. Yeah, less intimidating, all of that kind of stuff. Yes, this is a good look. And again, she's young, she's 24 years old. This is a really healthy look, right? So I love this look for her, right? I love this look for female bodybuilding. I think this is the direction that the criteria is set up for, right? Good. I'm glad this is making sense. Now, the reason why I bring this up, let's see. Yes, the current issues we are having with wellness. Right. I'm going to talk about wellness too, Devin, because actually the girl that won the overall at wellness for wellness and North Americans, again, same concept as what I'm talking about here with Ava. She fits the criteria, right? So remember, just because they line people up a certain way at one show, that's just that show, The judges have to place the girls in one position or another. That doesn't necessarily mean that they are the criteria, right? Okay, so this is why I'm bringing this up. Now I'm going to bring up the overall winners of women's physique and also the overall winner of figure. And I'm going to put them side by side. Now I think I can do that if I stop sharing my screen. I think I can share the entire screen at once. So I've never done that before, but give me just 1 second to figure this out. I think if I just put them all this way, I can pull them all up at the same time. Yes. Okay. Now what I need to do though is I need to move her over here and then share my full screen. This one. Well, it's not going to let me share my whole screen. Okay, never mind. So we're going to go one at a time then. For some reason, it's not going to let me share my whole screen. I wanted to do that so I could put all these photos next to each other. So instead, I'm just going to share them one by one. So that was our female bodybuilding overall. This is our women's physique overall right here that I'm sharing. Okay, so this girl right here won the overall women's physique. Now, if you notice, she actually has a plain suit on right now. That's because she crossed over to female bodybuilding as well. And I believe she placed fourth in the same class that that Ava actually won the overall for female bodybuilding. This girl right here, I think her name's Ariel. Is it Ariel? Yes, Ariel took fourth, I believe, in the same class in the female bodybuilding, but she won the women's physique overall. So the main difference between the two of them, if you look at her versus Ava, who won the overall for female bodybuilding, is size, really. Their conditioning is very comparable. Their conditioning is very comparable when you look at her versus Ava. The same kind of cuts in the quads, same kind of conditioning through the waistline, same kind of conditioning. It's just shape-wise, muscle-wise, she's a little bit smaller than Ava was. When you look, you can't see that unless you look at the actual comparison shots, and you can actually see them in the same comparison shots because they competed against each other in female bodybuilding, right? So let me see if I can pull one of those up. I don't want to lose those photos though. Hang on a second, I'll get to it. Let me see if I can. Yeah, Ariel took fourth in heavyweights. So let me get them next to each other here. Here we go. This is a good one. Let me share this one. There we go. Okay. So if you look at this comparison shot with the heavyweights of female bodybuilding, this is Ava right here, and this is Ariel right here. So you can tell just looking at them that Ava just has a bit more muscle, and she's a bit better shaped. Ariel's a little bit longer through the torso, so it doesn't give her quite as good of an X frame as Ava has here. And she's just a little bit smaller. Ariel's just a little bit smaller. Ariel took fourth here. Ava took first, and then the overall. So they did compete against each other, even though Ariel won the overall in women's physique, which to me, that's a good delineation right there, right? So to me, that's actually really good that Ariel won the overall in women's physique because she's smaller, right? That's supposed to be the differentiation, right? This loves everything right now. Thank you. So that is supposed to be the delineation between female bodybuilding and women's physique is size, right? So that makes sense. That makes complete sense. As you can see, they fit the criteria for the divisions. You see what I'm saying? So in this scenario, the judges were able to actually place people based on their criteria, which is great. That's fantastic. That means that these competitors were actually really good quality here, right? Now, the next thing I'm going to show you all is the figure overall winner, which the figure overall winner looked great. So don't get me wrong when I say this. I don't want you to take this wrong, but look at her really quickly. And somebody tell me what you see different about her versus what I just showed you guys with women's physique overall and female bodybuilding overall. Somebody type it into the comments. I'll give you a minute here because I know the comments are a little delayed. Somebody tell me what you think. I'm going to see if anybody gets it right. Those of you that are over on Instagram, I'm screen sharing photos over on YouTube. If you want to go check that out, we're talking about the differences between these divisions. I'm going to give it a minute for you guys to actually answer here. Yeah, I was going to try and screen share my entire screen so you could see all three of these ladies next to each other. But for some reason, I'm not able to do that. So I'm not sure why. I tried it before I got on live and it worked fine. As usual. More conditioning is an answer that just popped up. Anybody else? I'm not going to say what it is until we have a few answers that come in. And this girl, I think, actually won the tall class. She's a tall competitor. I did go and look at the overall comparison shots as well for figure. Well, we got one person that answered more conditioning, and that is correct. The girl in figure here is more conditioned, is leaner, is more conditioned than the two girls that won the women's physique overall and the female bodybuilding overall. Okay. When you look at her, more conditioning, striations visible. Correct. That's right. When you look at her, she is more conditioned than the girls that won women's physique and won female bodybuilding. And that's not how the criteria should go. However, when you go and you look at the photos for the overall for figure, she was the best put together as far as shape, size, all of those kinds of things. So her conditioning wasn't quite what I would consider to be the correct criteria for figure. But for this day and this show, she was the best one. Now, here's where competitors get into a trick bag. And this is why conditioning gets out of control, size gets out of control, that kind of thing. Because competitors then look at this and say, this is what I have to look like in order to win. So the next time all these competitors come on stage, what do? They come in conditioned like this, even though in reality, this is past the criteria. This is past the criteria. But again, remember that the judges have to take into account everybody that's on stage that day and all pieces of the criteria and not just conditioning. So the judges have to place the girls accordingly based on who's on stage that day. So even though for the actual criteria figure, this is beyond what you should be, this is the best package for that day. And as Devin just said here on live on Instagram, total package. Her total package was the best one that day. Is this making sense? Is this making sense? And this is why criteria gets bumped up real quick when people start paying attention to results of shows versus criteria. Right? Yeah, just like when Issa came out with the whole lat spread and it became a thing for a while. Exactly. Exactly right. People start following whoever won that day when you should be following the criteria. So this is a concerted effort. This is an effort that competitors need to make together, coaches need to make together before you ever get on stage. You need to be going towards the criteria because guess what? If you're going towards the criteria, you are going to get rewarded. Take us back to Ava, who won the female bodybuilding overall. Right? Let me pull her picture back up again. Pull up her back shot for you so you can see it. This is Ava's back shot. So again, she's not overly conditioned. This is great conditioning for female bodybuilding, right? She's tight in all the right places. She's got shape in all the right places. This is the criteria. If she had looked at some of the previous winners in female bodybuilding and things like that and chased after their looks versus the criteria looks, she wouldn't have looked like this, right? So this is where the problem comes in, is when competitors and coaches chase other competitors and coaches versus criteria. And remember that the judges will judge what shows up on stage that day. And they will get somebody that's closest to that criteria, even if they're over the line in one or the other, because the total package is the closest. Is this all making sense now? I get into debates about this all the time when someone says, but she had better glutes, quads, etc. But that's just one thing that was better. Correct. That was Devin over here on Instagram. That's right. That's right. Exactly. It's not a pick and choose kind of sport. It's a total package kind of sport. You have to look at the total package. It's the same thing. You could say the same thing for the wellness winners in North Americans, like we were just about to talk about. I believe I brought her photos up. Let me see what I did with her. What did I do? I pulled up the overall. That's what I wanted to do. So let me pull up the overall comparison for wellness. This is the front pose. All right. So there's 4 classes for wellness for open. And this girl right here, short girl, is the one that won the overall. Now, find a coach that knows the division criteria. Correct. That's right. That's right. Now, to be honest with you, this girl right here, and I can't remember her name. Let me pull up her. I did meet her actually in person too. And I can't remember her name. Shoot. Let me pull it back up so I get her name right. Adana. There we go. So Adana is the one that actually won the overall. And in my opinion, that again was the correct choice. She's actually one of the smallest. I think she's in this particular overall, to me, she looks like she's the smallest competitor and maybe even the least conditioned, but that's the criteria. That's the criteria. She fit the criteria, right? Let's see what we got. If we got any decent overall shots that I can show you guys here. You know, when you see her by herself, she does look smaller, but that's the criteria. You know what I mean? So this one's an in-between shot. Hang on, I'm trying to find a good back shot. I'm seeing these girls in transitions and stuff. Here we go. Okay, let me share this one. There we go. Okay, so that's the overall comparison right there. All right. From the back. And again, Adana right here is the one that won the overall. Shape is greater than size. Correct, Evan. Yes. Yep. If you notice, she's probably the smallest one up here when it comes to her glutes, but look at her leg to glute ratio. It's a better balance than these other girls over here. Right? Conditioning. She's not the most conditioned girl on the stage. I would say this girl right here is the most conditioned girl, but she's got great pop to her glutes. This is what they're looking for, that pop. This is the criteria right here. Okay? So don't chase competitors or show results, chase criteria. And I bring this up too, because I think that if we make this distinction and we start realizing this, then numbers for these other divisions could start growing again. You know, like I was actually really happy and excited to see the girl that won the female bodybuilding overall, because I was like, man, if this is the direction that people start taking their physiques for this division could survive better. You know what I mean? So if you go onto my, you got to go onto YouTube and go to my channel, which is Sean's Couture, Sean's Couture Cuties on YouTube. Then I'm live on there too. So that's how you'll be able to see it over there. Right. So I just went through and I pulled the numbers, the actual number of competitors in each division. The open classes, I didn't include the masters, but just to give you an idea, so female bodybuilding is the one that's been around the longest, right? Female bodybuilding, there was 13 competitors total in the entire division. Okay. Then the next one that's oldest is figure. There was 67 total in the entire division of open figure. There was 67, and it goes through class H for figure, right? Next one is bikini. there was 164 competitors in bikini. And again, we're not counting masters, we're just counting open. 164. A whole lot more in bikini. Like triple the amount in bikini, a figure. Then you have women's physique. There was 36 in women's physique. And then there was 67 in wellness, which is the brand new one, right? Wellness only had 4 classes, and yet they had the same number of competitors as figure, and wellness has only been around for 3 years. In order to be able to grow these higher division classes, like your female bodybuilding, women's physique, figure, girls need to show up looking like the criteria. Girls need to show up looking like the criteria, not chasing a show, chasing the criteria, right? And stop getting your division standards from randos on IG, right? Yes, and stop getting, that was another one from Devin over there. She's killing it with these little tidbits today. That's correct. That is right. That's right. Don't listen to random people on Instagram. Everybody's an expert on Instagram. Look at me. I'm an expert on Instagram right here. But this is why I say you guys need to always go back and reference back to the criteria. Criteria, criteria, criteria. How many times can I say that, right? And this is a trickle-down effect. So if we can get people in women's bodybuilding to go more towards that criteria, guess what? That's going to happen in women's physique too. That's going to happen in figure too. That's going to happen in wellness too. That's going to happen in bikini too. It starts at the top and works its way down. Go for the criteria. The judges will reward it. It's pretty obvious by the choices that they made at this show that they will reward girls that come in looking like the criteria if you come in looking like the criteria. So this is an effort that has to be made off stage by coaches and by competitors. That's where it starts. It starts off stage because the judges will reward it if you come in looking like the criteria. But you got to remember that if nobody looks like the criteria, somebody still has to be in first place. So they have to start picking and choosing who fits closest. And when they have to do that, there's going to be pieces that are off. The conditioning may be off, the shape may be off, the muscularity may be off, the look may be off if you're not coming in towards the criteria. Does this make sense, you guys? Because again, it's a numbers game. We talked about this when we talked about the Arnold and them taking different divisions out. There's a reason. When you got a national level show and you've only got 67 total figure competitors in a national level show, it's a numbers game. And the way you turn that around is by going towards the criteria. Bikini criteria above. Not sure what you mean by that, but okay. I'll go with it. But it's the same thing. I mean, it's a whole lot easier to get to the criteria with bikini because there's a lot of competitors to choose from. You know, I've seen all the people, the link that I sent. I don't see a link. So it may have been something that if you try, I think if you try to post in links on the live comments, I don't think it works. So I don't know if you post it or not, but I don't see it. But it's a whole lot easier to get towards the criteria with bikini because there's so many more competitors, right? And, you know, I've seen people going out there and putting out this is what bikini used to look like versus what it looks like now. And to be perfectly honest with you, bikini hasn't evolved a whole lot in comparison to some of these other divisions, right? The shapes are just getting better in bikini. The actual genetic shapes are getting better in bikini. And people do get penalized when they come in too conditioned. They do get penalized when they come in too muscular. It gets pulled down. So, a good example is when we saw Daraja win at Republic of Texas. She was not the most conditioned girl on that stage, but she fit the criteria the best, and she won. There's a reason. She fit the criteria the best. You got to step outside of that box of we're going to extremes and remember that there is a criteria, and that's what the judges are trying to find. The judges are trying to find the criteria, right? Shapes have just gotten a whole lot better in the last, 5-10 years in bikini. Because there's a lot of people doing it, right? Question seen shows where the overall physique champion wins overall in figure 2 on a national show. How does that work? It's who's closest to the criteria. It's who's closest to the criteria. I mean, that's the bottom line. Every new class is a new class. They don't carry over results from one class to the next. If you're closest to the criteria, then you're gonna win that. You're gonna win that class. You're gonna win that overall, right? Because again, it comes down to how many competitors are on that stage. And like I just said, in this particular show, this is one of the biggest national shows of the year. You got 13 girls total in female bodybuilding. Total 13. There's more than 13 girls in one class of bikini, right? So there may not be anybody on that stage for that particular division that really fits the criteria like we were just talking about. So they got to get somebody that's closest. You sure can fit the criteria in two different divisions. I just said that with the girl that won the overall in female bodybuilding, the girl that won the overall in women's physique. They happen to stand next to each other in female bodybuilding. The girl that won the overall women's physique in female bodybuilding ended up in fourth in her class, but she won the overall in women's physique. Because there were girls that were better than her in female bodybuilding for a change, which is great. I think that's fantastic. What's the bikini criteria exactly? I just joined the live, so I apologize if that's been discussed already. Take a minute to go over to NBC News Online and look up the criteria there. Okay. So if you're jumping on Instagram, I've been showing pictures, visuals over on YouTube. But to actually go and read the criteria, they have photos and everything like that all listed out on NBC News Online. You can look at every division that way, which you should. You should do that on your own so that you know what you're looking for. Yep. Because you got to remember, each class, each division is a brand new set of judging. They don't, even from masters to open, they don't carry over judging scores. You are a completely new set of bodies. And at the end of the day, every one of these divisions is about shape, muscle, conditioning, all those kinds of things. So if you got somebody with great shape, great muscle, great overall look, that can carry over between two divisions if you've only got a few competitors. Like I said, women's physique total had 36 competitors. Female bodybuilding had 13 total competitors. So yes, it can absolutely happen that girls can win a division in the same show, two divisions in the same show. Yes. Because again, the judges are looking for criteria. And just based on the three girls that I showed you that won the overall for figure, women's physique, and female bodybuilding, the girl that won the figure overall, her conditioning was more than women's physique and female bodybuilding. So again, they got to pick and choose pieces to find who fits the criteria the closest. Even if the conditioning is too much, her shape and size fit the criteria the best out of everybody else. So those two things outweighed. That's what happens. Yep. Any other questions? The criteria, though, it starts with the competitors themselves and what they bring to the stage. The judges are stuck. They got to reward what shows up. They can't just say, well, no, you don't fit the criteria, so nobody gets an award today. They can't do that. They can't do that. And they got to place people somehow, right? So you got to bring the criteria. And like I said, they will reward you if you bring the criteria. Don't be afraid to come in as the criteria. They did that very clearly in this show. Very clearly in this show. Across the board in every division. They sure did. Any other questions, guys? I'll leave it open for another minute if anybody's got questions. But like I said, Cuties Conference Stage tickets are open. Early bird tickets are selling. While I've been on this live feed, I've seen like 2 or 3 of them sell while I've been sitting here. So we have over half of them gone already, and we've only been open with ticket sales since 1 p.m. So you guys got to get on that. You got to get on that. Take a look at everything there. And then, like I said, once you actually purchase your ticket, we do have a Facebook group already up and running with a lot of the girls are jumping in that already. Get in there, introduce yourself, say hi to people, get to know people before the actual event itself. You can end up getting a roommate, maybe making a friend before you even show up, You hook it up like that. So you get to meet each other first. And it's nice too. We got a lot of girls that are brand new that come in, and then you don't feel like you're just coming out of nowhere, and you know people before you actually get there. Becky Clausen used to show a lot about criteria visuals to the judge's perspective. Yeah, she did. She hasn't done it quite so much recently, but I think that's just because she's been busy judging and actually working a real job. But yes, yeah, she shows criteria a lot. Yep, absolutely. Got mine. Yeah, I finally get to see you in person, right? All these FaceTime sessions. Now we get to meet in person. But yes, and actually the link itself for the ticket sales is in my bio on Instagram. If you're here on YouTube, you can click on the description of this particular live, and it's in there too. I have it posted in several different posts on my Facebook, all over the place. So you kind of can't miss it. If you were on our early bird registration access list, and you have it in your email box. So go check that too, and that'll take you through as well. And we do offer a payment plan too, because we understand budgeting and we get that. So if you need a payment plan, there's a payment plan option too. So yeah, and that's the cool thing too, when you're talking about like meeting people through this event, regardless if you're there in person or not, people get to know each other really, really well. And then you meet each other at shows. I know so many of these ladies that have been friends with each other for years, and they actually go to shows together and compete together and all of that kind of stuff too. So it's really kind of awesome how that all comes together like that. Yeah. We've had some girls that have come every year. I'm trying to think if we have anybody left from our first year. I don't think we have anybody left from our first year, but we do have people from our second year. Oh no, I take that back. Maybe Deborah. I think Deborah was there our first year. So yeah, we may have some 8-year veterans this year. 8 years, man. I can't believe it's been 8 years. It's so crazy. Oh, it's so crazy. We made it through the COVID era too. I can't believe it. That was a tricky one. I don't want to do that one again. I'm good with where we are now. But yeah, I really wanted to display this because I hear this a lot when we get out of national shows and things like that. I just was really happy to see the people win that did, because I thought that they fit the criteria spectacularly, and I loved it. I thought it was great. So follow the criteria. Don't follow judging or not judging. Don't follow show results. Follow criteria. Criteria. Because at the end of the day, that's what the judges are looking for too. Is they're looking for criteria, right? Facts never know which cutie may help you change your life, like meeting Raven changed mine. There you go. See, look at that. Yes, I can't wait till CCTS. Yes. Oh yeah, you're welcome. Happy to give you the feedback. Absolutely. Yeah. And I understand. I get it. It can be confusing because you're trying to learn, and you're trying to understand, what you're supposed to be bringing to the stage. Always revert back to the criteria. Revert back to your Olympia winners. Jennifer Dory is a perfect example in bikini. She's not over the line on anything. She's right down the middle on everything. And that's exactly where you should be. Right? Right down the middle. When you look at the Olympia and you look at the Olympia results, That's always the case with those top 5 girls in any division. They are right down the middle. Right? Right down the middle. I always remember that. Okay. So that I'll be missing this year, but I'll be back the following year. There you go. Well, I want to see your photos from this past weekend. I have a vested interest since I did your makeup. I want to see your photos from your photo shoot. Just saying. See, look at that. Raven and Brandy over here bonding in the comments. I love it. And I am excited to see a lot of you guys, because this is the one time a year where I do get to see all of you in person. Sometimes I see you at shows and things like that throughout the year, or again through FaceTime and all those kinds of things. But I really enjoy actually getting to spend some FaceTime, like actual FaceTime together, Yes, definitely. Tag away. I'll be there. Yes, number 7 for you, Raven. I love it. It's awesome. Okay, guys. So that's it for tonight. We'll be back on tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to preview the shows yet for this coming weekend. I think I'm going to do that on Thursday night. But we'll be back on tomorrow, and I'll bring another topic for you guys tomorrow. But again, I was very, very happy to see how the results played out this past weekend at North Americans. I thought it was really, really good across the board. And I'm excited to see how the rest of this year shapes up. So hope you guys all have a fantastic evening. Again, Cuties Conquering the Stage tickets, grab yours now because they will not last. As you all know, they do sell out. And we are over halfway sold with our early bird tickets right now. So make sure you don't wait, right? Yeah, this is Raven's year number 7 for CCTS. Yep, year number 7. She's an OG. She came when she was 9 months pregnant, man. That was her first year. Love it. All right, guys, I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm gonna sign off of YouTube first and then Instagram. Okay. Have a great night, and I'll see you